Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto Was Betrayed and Goes to Outworld, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Get over here. The spearhead pierced Cyrax's cybernetic body and pulled him forward with incredible force. Scorpion grabbed Cyrax by his throat and slammed him to the ground. Holding his kunai in reverse grip, he thrust his weapon down, aiming for the robot's heart. Cyrax disappeared, his body splitting up into multiple parts. The force of the separation knocked Scorpion back. Scorpion rolled back onto his feet with his kunai at the ready. Cyrax reassembled right in front of him. Hanzo Hasashi performed a roundhouse kick that knocked his opponent back several feet. "Be gone, Lin Kuei swine!" Scorpion yelled. Cyrax stood up and shot out an energy net at Scorpion. Hanzo teleported with his hellfire right behind him and stabbed Cyrax in his shoulder, wrapped the chain around his neck and choked him. He mentally summoned a portal to the pit of the hottest fires in the Netherrealm. Scorpion stood back, while holding the chain still. Spartan kicked Cyrax into the portal. Another portal from the Netherrealm opened up above and behind him, and the burnt, crisp remains of Cyrax fell through, chain still wrapped around his neck. Scorpion's other fatality in MK9. Scorpion retracted his kunai with chain weapon and Cyrax's burnt corpse fell to the ground. "My family can rest a little easier now that you are dead," Scorpion said. "Now, all that's left is to finish off the rest." Sub-Zero froze Sector before he could perform his signature teleporting uppercut. Sub-Zero walked up to him, and created an ice sword. He stabbed Sector in his shoulder and broke it off, and then choke-slammed him. The ice-trapping Sector shattered, and he kicked Sub-Zero away. He stood up and fired 2 rockets in succession at his one-time ally. Sub-Zero performed an ice clone, and the first rocket completely obliterated the ice sculpture, sending ice fragments everywhere. In the midst of the explosion, Sub-Zero turned into ice again, leaving behind another ice clone, which Sector's other rocket destroyed as well, sending more ice fragments everywhere. Sub-Zero appeared behind Sector and turned him around. He thrust his hand into his abdomen, froze his liver and crushed it, then yanked his hand out. Then, he grabbed his shoulder and head-butted him very hard, literally fragmenting Sector's cybernetic skull. Sector stumbled back, and his body had sparks of electricity randomly spurting out from his body. The Cyber Initiative was going to be the Lin Kuei's downfall. "I told the former Grandmaster this," Sub-Zero said as he walked closer to Sector. He didn't listen. He refused to believe anything that anyone said, and still changed the clan regardless. This is the result. Sub-Zero forcefully placed his right hand in the center of Sector's chest, completely freezing the outer as well as the inner parts of that area. He then thrust his fist forward, shattering the frozen chest area, leaving his spine exposed. He reached inside and, using both hands, snapped his spine in 2. He picked up his former ally, and snapped his entire body in 2, blood and gore flying everywhere. "That is why you could never win," Sub-Zero said as he walked off. "You lost yourself along your journey. I didn't." Naruto was running back to the group, slaughtering Tarkatan warriors, if they could even be called that, along the way. One tried to decapitate him, but he ducked and stabbed it in the throat with one of his hidden blades. Another 2 of the freaks were coming for him, arm blades raised and ready to kill. Naruto threw the one he had already killed into the one closest to him, and then he threw a small barrage of shuriken into the other one, making it into a, former living, pincushion. The first one tossed the dead weight that was thrown on him off and began to rise back up, only to meet a kunai in the skull. As Naruto yanked out his blade, he was knocked back by a very hard tail. Naruto tumbled and rolled for about a good 10 to 15 feet before he stopped. He stood up and shook his head, attempting to shake off the slight dizziness from being hit so hard. He looked up to see a horseman running at him full speed with some sort of red energy ball in its hand. Naruto dodged the energy ball, whatever it was, as the beast threw it at him. The ground where Naruto previously was shattered into broken earth and dust. Naruto turned to look at the tail coming at him again. He ducked just in time. He felt the edge of the what looked like a metal tail just brush against his hair. Naruto made 5 shadow clones and they spread out around him. The beast roared out and stomped on the ground, hard. The sheer force alone caused the clones to stumble. The beast used this opportunity and faster than the eye could see, the tail lashed about and destroyed all 5 clones in a matter of seconds. The real Naruto stood up, orange markings around his eyes. They opened to reveal a toad-like iris, signifying that he had gone into Sage mode. The beast sniffed the air as it turned towards Naruto. It said to him, "You do not stand a chance against the might of Motoro. Surrender now, and your death will be quick." "How about this?" Naruto countered. "You surrender, and you'll die a slow and painful death. Don't, and I'll use my sword to withdraw your soul so I can kill you over and over again. Oh, and, yeah, you'll basically be in hell the whole time you're not summoned to be killed again. I'd rather take the slow and painful death, but the choice is yours." To prove his point, Naruto unsheathed the katana on his back. The blade gleamed beautifully in the light. He held it down in front himself at the ready, silently challenging the beast now named Motoro. "Fool!" Motoro yelled at him. "You have sealed your fate. Prepare to die, human." Motoro charged at Naruto, tail whipping behind him like a whip. Motoro jumped in the air and tried to stomp on Naruto. Naruto simply punched the oversized hoof away from him. The force of the punch, empowered by Sage mode, completely threw Motoro off balance. Naruto walked back a few steps and motioned for his opponent to get back up. Snorting, Motoro got up and fired a red energy ball once again at Naruto. Naruto just ducked low, just barely dodging the projectile. As he ducked, he threw 2 kunai at Motoro, both of which hit their mark. One on either of his 2 front knees. Grunting in pain, Motoro found himself involuntarily kneeling on his 2 front knees, them giving out due to being impaled by the ninja weapons. He saw Naruto not too far from him. He smiled evilly, and thrust his metal-like tail forward, impaling Naruto in the chest. Naruto spit out a little bit of blood as he was raised up and brought back to face Motoro. "You have fought well, young one," Motoro said to him. "But, as I have said, you are no match for Motoro." He. Naruto laughed. "Laughing at your own end, you find this humorous?" Motoro said, confused. "Nope. I find it funny that you stabbed a blood clone." The Naruto on the tail said, smiling as he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Motoro suddenly felt an extremely sharp and deep pain in his left shoulder. He looked up to see that the real Naruto, not even in Sage mode, standing on his horse-like back, the katana buried in his body vertically through his left shoulder. Motoro could feel the tip of the blade almost at his waist. The blade was then violently twisted, and yanked out of his body by it cutting straight through the front side of his man-like chest. His entire left side was almost completely severed. Motoro felt something leaving him. Not just his life, but something deeper. He watched as Naruto flip over him and turn around, holding his word a little behind himself. If he looked closely with what little energy Motoro had left, he could see a faint white and blue mist connecting from the tip of the blade to himself. "I see you've figured out what's going on," Naruto said to him. "I told you I would take your soul with this sword. As you can see, I wasn't lying." Motoro suddenly felt a pain unlike anything he had ever felt before, as if he was being separated from himself. With his last breath, he gave one last defiant roar at his opponent. NNNNOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO purpose. Naruto held the blade out as it shined for a few seconds, then went back to its normal gleam. He spun it around and then sheathed the mighty weapon back in its protective cover. First victim of the day, he said. Who's next? Reptile walked towards Johnny Cage. His tongue lashed out as Johnny said to him, I didn't know you wanted to offer me a snakeskin purse for Sonia, how thoughtful. I will eat you, failed actor. Reptile said, acid dripping from his mouth. Well, bring it on, fruitcake. Johnny replied with a smirk, putting on his sunglasses. Johnny rushed forward and punched the lizard-like man in the face. Reptile turned around and countered with a back hand. Johnny countered by grabbing his wrist and smashing his elbow. He then grabbed his ankle and smashed his knee, then punched him away and said to him, that all you got, frog legs? My cat's better than you. Standing back up with a small limp, Reptile spit out a jet of acid that caught Johnny Cage in the eyes. Ah, shit, Johnny yelled. He took off his glasses and threw them down and watched in horror as they melted away. He looked at Reptile with a pissed off look on his face. You son of a bitch. he yelled out. Sonia gave those to me, and they were my last pair. He performed a green energy kick that sent Reptile sprawling. He got up and then turned invisible, slightly smirking. Shit, Johnny mumbled. He positioned himself to get ready for anything. Suddenly, he was hit in stomach very hard. He was forced to double over, clutching his stomach and trying to breathe. He was then hit on the back of the head. Reptile revealed himself, and then picked up the actor. You will feel my bite, Reptile told him. He then bit into his neck, injecting poison into his bloodstream. Johnny's eyes widened and squinted shut in pain. Reptile then ripped out the section of flesh he had bit into, causing blood to flow freely from Johnny's neck. He fell to his knees, then to his side, dead. You would not last long anyway, Reptile said. He turned invisible once again to see if he could aid any of his allies. Sindel was beating the shit out of Sonia Blade. You could not defeat me before in Earthrealm, Sindel taunted Sonia. What makes you think that you can defeat me now? You have grown older. I cannot die. You have grown weaker. I remain in my prime. Too many things are against you in this life. Give up now, and we can all be a family in death. You wish, Sonia said as she got back up. No matter what happens, I'm not giving up, you hear? Suit yourself, child. I have warned you, Sindel said. Sindel yelled at Sonia with her extremely loud voice, blowing her back into the wall of the inside of the Colosseum. The wall cracked a little bit as Sonia slid down the wall and fell on her ass. Sindel walked up, laughing. Ha 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 ha. You human are all alike, she said to her. Always thinking that by being defiant, you can overcome anything. How foolish. Sindel reached down and picked up Sonia by the throat and picked up, then pinned her against the wall once again. However bravely you have fought, it doesn't matter in the end, because you shall die by my hand. Sindel screamed her loudest right in Sonia's face. After about 10 seconds or so, Sonia's head exploded, sending her remains all over the wall behind her. Sindel let go of her throat, and her corpse fell to the ground with a heavy thud. Rest well, child, Sindel said. I will teach you how to be a proper mother. Next, I will claim your daughter. Sindel walked off in search of Cassandra Cage. Cassandra Cage had just finished off 3 Tarkatans with a shot to their heads with her pistol. She reloaded her weapon and was about to take some more of her enemies out when she was blown back by a huge sound wave. Come here my darling, Sindel told Cassie. Has your mother ever told you what I did to your friends? Wiped them all out in the blink of an eye. Yeah you dirty old bitch, Cassie said as she stood up on her feet. You failed to get some of them though huh? Jax, Lou, Katana and Jade will join us shortly, Sindel told her. As will you. Join me, and I will give you a proper upbringing. Sindel whipped her hair around to try to entangle Cassie. Cassie rolled out of the way and shot 3 shots in succession at Sindel. Sindel shielded herself with her hair. That's bullshit, Cassie yelled out. You can't shield yourself with your fucking hair. Dodge this, bitch. She pulled a pin from one of her grenades and threw it hard at Sindel. The explosive hit Sindel in the face and fell to the ground. Sindel looked at it and, realizing what it was, tried to shield herself once again with her hair. She wasn't quite in time, and was blown back far away. Cassie ran up to her and held her at gunpoint and told her, surrender, now. Ha 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 ha, Sindel laughed painfully while holding her side as she stood up. Remember what I said about killing your friends. Your mother has already done so. She pointed to the far side of the wall, where Cassie could just make out the headless body of her mother. Mom! Cassie yelled out. Tears began to form in her eyes as she looked at Sindel with a rage-filled look. You bitch. Cassie pulled out her other pistol and shot every bullet she had at Sindel, intending on killing her right that second. Sindel once again wrapped herself in her hair cocoon, protecting herself. When she uncovered herself, she was gone, running to her mother's corpse. Run all you want, child, Sindel said. You cannot escape. Sindel flew towards her. Cassie slid next to her mother's corpse and, not believing the fact that was laying right in front of her, tried to make her headless mother get up. Mom, get up. This isn't funny mom. General Blade, mom, MOOOMMYYYYY. Holding her hand, Cassie placed her forehead on her mother's shoulder and cried. She screamed and wailed in total sorrow. Even though Sonia may have been a total bitch at times, she was still her mother who loved her. Sindel landed right behind her, and started walking to her. Cassie quickly stood up, turned around, and whacked Sindel with her baton as hard as she possibly could. Whack! Sindel's lower jaw was completely detached, hanging on by a thread of skin. Cassie hit her in the stomach as hard as she could. While Sindel was bleeding from her jaw and doubled over, Cassie reloaded her gun. She shot Sindel in both kneecaps, and then in her head. Sindel fell over, dead. "That was for my mom, you son of a bitch," Cassie said as she put her gun in its holster. She looked down at her mother's corpse and said, "I love you, Mom, I'm sorry this happened to you." She turned around and headed back into the fray, intending on finishing this damn battle once and for all. Hinata was fighting against Kano. Kano said to her, well, look at we have here, a pretty one ready for Uncle Kano, he. "Stay away from me, you freak," Hinata told him as she got in her gentle fist stance. "Not if I have it my way," he retorted. Hinata rushed in and tried to attack him, but Kano stepped to the side and stabbed her in one of her arms with his knife. She yelled out in pain and stepped aside, that arm completely useless. "Pretty and frail," Kano teased. "Just the way I like him. You will die, you scumbag." Hinata rushed in forward again and jumped to perform a roundhouse kick. Kano shot his eye laser at her and she went flying back. Her entire blouse was practically burned to nothingness, leaving her large breasts covered only in her large black bra. She tried covering herself, but Kano grabbed the hand that she used to cover herself up and yanked her up to her feet and kissed her cheek, saying, my, what a lovely lady we have here," he said to her. "I never would have expected this from such a pretty little girl like you. I might not kill you after all, I could have some much needed fun with you, my dear." He slowly licked her cheek. She cringed at the feeling, especially because Kiba used to do something similar. She was on a mission before when Kiba did all of that disturbing stuff, a mission to seduce. This mission, to kill. The fact that Kano did that to her just now reminded her further of the pain that she had put her love through. Enraged, she brought her head back and delivered a brutal headbutt to Kano's head. She hit his laser eye with her forehead, cracking the device and rendering it useless. As he stumbled back, dazed, Hinata threw a few smoke bombs and flashbang tags to further disorientate him. Her plan worked. Kano fell on his back, completely oblivious to what was going on around him. Hinata used this time to heal her arm to fully be able to use it again. After a minute or so, she was successful. She stood up again, and looked at Kano with a murderous glare. She was pissed. "There's only one man I would willingly let do that to me," she said to Kano as he got up. "And that's Naruto-kun. You are just an evil, vile monster that must die." She held up her fists as two orbs of blue, fiery chakra surrounded them. The blue chakra flailed about wildly until it was tamed and took the form of two lion heads. She got down into her gentle fist stance once again. A giant green and black yin-yang sign appeared below them as Hinata said to him, "You are within my field of divination." She rushed forward and yelled out, 8 trigrams, twin lion fists, 128 palms. 2 palms. 4 palms, 8 palms, 16 palms, 32 palms, 64 palms, twin lion fists, 128 palms. Bam 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 bam. Kano stumbled back and fell to his knees, blood coming out of his eyes, nose, ears and mouth. His entire body was shaking uncontrollably from the internal damage that was just dealt to his body. Hinata stood in front of him and told him, "This is for Naruto-kun. HYA." She thrust a palm straight into his face, and the force of the chakra-filled palm strike caused the back of Kano's head to explode. Blood and gore flew all over the place, covering the area 10 feet behind him. Kano's lifeless body fell to ground with a heavy thud. "Don't mess with Hinata Hyuga," she said. She turned and walked away, heading back into the battle to find her lover, intent on proving to him that she did indeed want him back. Katana and Jade, in their MKX costumes, Jade's being the same, just green, were in the middle of the arena of the Colosseum, back to back, fighting off the Tarkatan horde. It seemed as if the waves were endless. Katana would decapitate 2 with her fans and 4 more would replace them. Jade would impale 1 or 2 and they would also be replaced with more. "We can't take much more of this," Jade yelled out to her future queen. "They just keep on coming. Do not falter," Katana encouraged. "We may be outnumbered hopelessly, but we cannot give up." She decapitated 3 more and seemed to get a break. They were surrounded by hundreds of Tarkatans, and some of them seemed to hesitate to advance towards the 2 Edenian princesses, seeing their fallen comrades in piles around them. Suddenly, 8 Naruto surrounded the 2 princesses. All of them simultaneously performed hand signs and then yelled out loud as one, fire style, giant fireball jutsu. 8 huge fireballs erupted in 8 directions, completely disintegrating any Tarkatans that were caught in the fireball's unrelenting force. As the fireballs faded out of existence, easily 200 Tarkatan burnt corpses littered the ground around them. 7 of the 8 Narutos disappeared in puffs of smoke, leaving only 1 left. He turned around to face his 2 lovers as he said to them, "You 2 okay?" Katana saw that his eyes were yellow with a toad-like iris with orange markings around his eyes. She thought he looked so powerful, so strong, so alpha, and she really liked it. A little flustered, she said to him, "Why yes, we are okay now, thanks to you Naruto." "Don't worry about it," he said. "I have some bad news. We've lost Sonia and Johnny." "Damn it," Katana said. As much as I hated some of their antics, they really were very powerful warriors in their own right. They shall be given a warrior's burial after this. "Don't worry about that right now," Naruto said. He looked on to see another horde of about 400 coming towards them. He looked back at his 2 lovers and told them, "I want you 2 to spread out and help out whoever is alone." That's how they were taken out. Strength in numbers. However strong you may be, you can still be taken down from sheer numbers alone. We stand stronger if we are together. I'll take care of these freak shows coming onto us. Go, now. As you command, Naruto, Katana said as she bowed to him. She took off with Jade not too far behind her. Naruto turned around and looked at the 400 Tarkatans coming to him and said aloud, "However many of you there are, and however strong you may be, you are no match for the Shodaime Hokage, Hashirama Senju and his wood style." Naruto went through a very complicated series of hand signs and ended by clapping his hands together and interlocking his fingers, yelling out at the top of his lungs, "Wood style, mother tree cage explosion." Huge tree trunks sprouted out from the ground all around the giant group of 400 Tarkatan. The ground in the center of the trees rose up as well from the roots of the trees, bringing the 400 up high in the center of the trees. All of the trees surrounding them twirled and twisted until it looked like one giant twisted tree, trapping the 400 Tarkatans inside. Naruto clapped his hands together and yelled out, "Ha!" The mother tree trap exploded, enhanced with Sage mode, exploded with an astounding fiery rage and earth-shaking explosion. All fighting in the entire arena ceased for a moment to gaze upon the massive explosion of wood, dirt, blood, gore, and fire. It looked like a small atomic bomb explosion. The Outworld forces were now scared that a force like this was against them. Naruto turned around, facing everyone, the fiery rage behind him. He looked upon the battle with his toad-like eyes as he yelled out to the entire battlefield. "Outworld. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. Surrender now, and you will be spared, allowed to serve Melina, the rightful ruler of Outworld. Refuse, and you will die by my hand. The choice is yours." There was a slight pause, and it looked like they were about to give in, but Kotal Khan yelled out, "Do not listen to this fool. We are Outworld. We have never been defeated before, and we are not going to let some petty words let us fall. Let us show him why Outworld has never been defeated. Oshtek, release the Oshtek ogre hatches." There was a renewed vigor among the Outworld forces and the Tarkatans and the Oshtek as some of them ran to 4 sides of the Colosseum. On the 4 sides, huge, there were 50-foot tall and 30-foot wide doors held down with huge chains. Oshtek and Tarkatans alike went to the 4 doors and broke all of the chains holding down the doors. Once the chains were broken, the 4 doors rolled up with a loud, rusty, cranking noise. They shook the arena as they were rolled up all the way. Within the deep black darkness from the huge doorways, a deep, low, gurgling and growling could be heard from all 4 doors. The ground shook every few seconds as a few heavy stomping sounds were heard. Then, from the blackness of the 4 huge doorways, 3 giant ogres came out, dressed in a similar way as the Oshtek soldiers that served Kotal Khan. The 12 huge beasts, 50 feet tall and easily weighing 10 tons, heaved the various weapons. 3 wielded clubs, 3 wielded giant battle axes, 3 wielded spiked ball clubs, and the last 3 wielded huge hammers. They all gave a loud collective roar, rocking the walls of the Colosseum. Spittle flew everywhere. The Tarkatans and Oshtek warriors got out of their way, paving a way towards all of the Earthrealm forces, who had been directed towards the center of the arena. They were completely surrounded by Tarkatans, Oshtek, and the 12 giant Oshtek ogres. Fuck me, Cassie said exasperatingly. What the hell are we gonna do now? We have to fight these damn things somehow. Jackie said. We will find a way to destroy them, Shiva said to them. What the hell, Ino said as she sighed. I guess it looks like we'll be joining Sakura sooner than I imagined. We will not give up. Melina said angrily. They will not kill us. We will. Summoning jutsu. A huge puff of smoke later, an extremely loud, deep, throaty growl could be heard. It was so loud and scary that it made the ogres seem like stuffed animals. Dark red-orange tails swept around the area. Kurama. Naruto yelled out to his Ling-time friend. You are a beast that craves destruction and battle. You ready to get your fix? Kurama, the nine-tailed fox and lord of the Biju, looked at the 12 ogres surrounding them and said, It's been a while since I've had a fight of my own. The Outworld forces had now lost hope. Their 12 ogres were all about 50 feet tall. This fox was about 200 feet tall. They stood no chance against this creature. Kotal Khan, however, wasn't going to give up so easily. Attack! Kotal Khan ordered the monsters. With a slow, but powerful march, the ogres rushed Kurama, weapons at the ready. Are you serious? You sick these puppies against me? Kotal, you have threatened my container. You have killed a very close friend. You have threatened my home, and my realm. You stole my container's love's throne from her. Kotal Khan. You have infuriated me, Kotal. Kurama knocked all 12 of the ogres back with his 9 tails and fists with brutality, killing half of them in one blow. 3 charged at the giant fox, weapons held up high, intending on hurting the fox as much as possible. Kurama crouched and using his tails as spears, used 3 of his tails to stab the 3 ogres in the chest. The tails easily punctured the bulky but weak bodies. Huge showers of gore and blood rained down on everyone as Kurama yanked out his tails from the ogres' chests. He grabbed one of them and easily ripped it in half with a huge roar. RRRRRIIIIIP. Using the 2 halves of the dead ogre, Kurama threw each piece at 2 of the remaining 3 ogres. The 2 that were hit with the remains flew back against the Colosseum walls, killing civilians that were in their seats and severely damaging the structure of the entire building. Kurama grabbed the last one, pulled it up close, and snapped his jaws around the horrid creature's throat. Kurama bit down, hard, crushing the ogre's neck, and then ripped the head off. He spit the head out of his enormous jaws, then proceeded to rip the body apart, limb from limb. After the arms and legs were ripped off brutally, Kurama grabbed the torso and ripped it in half as well. Kurama let out a huge throaty chuckle at all the destruction and death around him, especially the remains of the ogre that he had just torn apart piece by piece, laying all around him. He then set his eyes on the last 2 ogres that he had forced against the walls of the Colosseum. He took a deep breath and let out 2 quick mini bijudamas at them. Both chakra bombs hit their prospective targets. The ogres exploded in a brilliant flash of light, chakra, blood, and gore. That entire side of the Colosseum was also destroyed, the huge structure now looking like a crescent instead of a full circle. The Outworld civilians were scrambling to get out of the Colosseum. At first, this huge battle was just entertainment for them, but now, not even they were in the clear, as they just saw. Almost half of the entire population present was completely wiped out. Ha 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 ha. That was fun. You have to summon me more often, Naruto. No problem, big guy. Thanks for your help, Naruto said with his signature smile, holding a thumbs up. Kurama returned the gesture to his container. Happy to help. I'm out of chakra for the summoning, so you're on your own from now on. Understood. Take it easy, Kurama. Naruto yelled out as he made the ram sign, releasing the jutsu. A huge puff of smoke later, Kurama was gone. In the span of a few minutes, all 12 of the Oshtek ogres were killed, almost half of the attending population was killed, a third of the Colosseum was destroyed, and the Outworld forces were severely demotivated. Kintaro, Reptile, Eren Black, Devourer, and Moloch walked up and got on their knees and bowed in front of Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, I, Kotal Khan, hereby surrender to you. The Earthrealm forces were a little surprised at this abrupt act of surrender. Is he serious? Cassie asked Naruto. Doesn't matter, Naruto replied. He clapped his hands together, and thick, flexible tree limbs sprouted from the ground and trapped them all, rendering them completely immobile. Naruto walked up and said, Devourer, for the crime of killing my best friend, you shall be killed in the worst way imaginable. Ino, come here. Ino walked forward with a rage-filled expression on her face. You bitch, she said through grit teeth. Finish her, Ino, Naruto said with a dark tone. Gladly, Ino said. You cannot kill this one, Devourer said defiantly. The hive will consume you as well. You can certainly try, Ino retorted. But I don't think that's gonna work with you brain being melted. Ino did a series of complicated hand signs and ended with her hands in the dragon sign. Ino said with dignity, this is the last technique that my father taught me, the deadliest technique that my clan possesses. This is for my friend you ugly whore. Yamanaka hidden jutsu, mind annihilation. Devourer immediately had a pain-filled expression on her face as she gritted her teeth. She shut her eyes to prevent herself from screaming out in pain. After a few seconds, with the pain being so great, she couldn't hold it in any longer as she threw her head back and let out an agonizing scream. Inside of her skull, what was happening was that her brain was literally self-destructing, but first it was expanding and contracting every second, causing immense pressure inside of her skull. Her skull began to slowly crack due to the cranial pressure from her brain's expansion. As Devourer let out a third and final terrified scream, the top and back of her head literally exploded. Only her facial structure remained, with a dull expression on her face. Her body fell limply in its tree confines, dead. That, Ino said angrily, was for Sakura Haruno, you son of a bitch. Char. She turned around and went back to the group, trembling slightly. Cassie stepped forward and roughly grabbed Reptile's jaw and jerked his head up to face her as she said to him loudly, you killed my father, didn't you, you ugly fuck. Reptile smirked and said in his raspy voice and said to her, I ripped out his throat and watched him bleed, he. Bitch. Cassie yelled as she kneed him in the face. Reptile spit out green blood from his mouth and told her, you will be next, daughter of Cage. Cassie said to him, fuck you, you stupid ass faggot. She pulled out her 2 pistols and unloaded every bullet she had in each magazine, a total of about 30 rounds. Reptile's insides were spilling out of him as he screamed in pain. Cassie pulled out her baton and knocked his lower jaw off, much like she did with Sindel. She placed her baton back and retrieved a grenade. She pulled the pin, lifted Reptile's jawless head back, and literally shoved the explosive down his throat. She stood back and said to him, you got caged, bitch. Boom. A huge shower of blood, gore, and fire later, the upper half of Reptile's remains were all over the place. Naruto then said, Melina, come forward. Melina came forward to Naruto. As she stepped in front of him, Naruto knelt down on one knee and said to her, Melina, Khanum of Outworld, victory over Kotal Khan is yours. What is your next command, my love? Ooh. Naruto, I love you. Melina said to him. She looked at Kotal Khan and said to him, as the heir to my father, Shao Kahn, I, Melina, Khanum of Outworld, order your execution. Then do it, and be done with it, Kotal Khan said. You will never rule Outworld as well as I. Squelch. Kotal Khan was surprised to suddenly see Naruto in front of him, his katana blade in his chest. Remember when I said I was going to steal your fucking soul, bitch? Naruto said a couple of inches from Kotal's face. He twisted the blade for added emphasis. Kotal Khan grunted in severe pain as he felt his soul leaving his body. Naruto forced the handle down hard, causing Kotal Khan's body to tremble in extreme agony. Naruto yanked out his blade as hard as possible. Kotal Khan's blood sprayed everywhere. Kotal Khan's body was now dead, and also soulless. To make sure he was definitely dead, with one clean and swift arch, he swung his katana and cut Kotal Khan's body diagonally, cutting him in half from his right shoulder to the left side of his waist. The 2 halves were only supported by the restricting roots of his jutsu. He turned around, flicked the blood off of his blade, spun his sword and sheathed it back on his back. He looked at Melina and bowed to her. Victory is yours, Melina Khanum. He. I love it when you say that, my love, Melina said. Naruto stood back up and went to Ino, who was on her knees with her face in her hands crying. He knelt down and hugged her tightly. We got him, Ino-chan. We got him. Ino cried even more, out of relief or grief, he couldn't tell. He just continued to hug her. Cassie was also upset, silently crying at the loss of her own parents. Jackie laid a comforting hand on her friend's shoulder. Cassie looked at her and gave her a sad smile, silently thanking her for her efforts. Just then, a flash of lightning appeared behind them. It faded out to reveal Raiden and Tsunade. Tsunade looked worried, grief-stricken, and pissed all at the same time. Naruto. She yelled out to him. Where's Sakura? She had already gotten the brief report from Raiden, but she just couldn't bring herself to believe it. I'm sorry God, I'm Sama, Naruto said to her. She knew it was bad then. He never called her that unless it was deadly serious. No, Tsunade said. She bent her head down and cried. She looked back up with a rage-filled expression and asked him, did you at least get the son of a bitch that killed her? Not me, God, I'm Sama, Naruto said. It was Ino. It's that insect bitch over there. He pointed at the corpse of Devourer. She literally made her mind explode. Not before she put her the most excruciating pain first though. Tsunade went over to the Kaitan's corpse and saw that the top, back, and sides of Devourer's head had literally been blown apart. She nodded and said, thank you Ino Yamanaka, for avenging my apprentice. Your friend. She went over to Ino and helped her up and then wrapped her up in a motherly hug. We won against the tyrant, Kotal Khan, Raiden said. That, and Melina has now been unofficially renamed Khanum of Outworld once again. However, we paid too high a price. Naruto Uzumaki, Ino Yamanaka, Cassandra Cage, I am truly sorry for your loss. I can assure you that you shall have lost more, very soon, a deep voice said from behind them. Raiden and Naruto turned around and saw Quan Chi in his MKX outfit. His arms were crossed and he had that evil smirk of his. You have won against the foolish Outworld Emperor, Kotal Khan. However now, you face against an immortal enemy, a real, god. Black smoke arose slowly around Naruto. He studied for a second, then disappeared in a pillar of fire just in time as the black smoke suddenly turned into two giant skeletal hands that clapped together, intending on crushing Naruto. Naruto reappeared beside Raiden. The giant skeletal hands slowly released each other to reveal Shinnok, the fallen elder god. He turned around to face the Earthrealm force and said, Ah, Raiden, it has been a while, hasn't it? Shinnok, Raiden said. He then immediately got into a fighting stance and said to him, you stand no chance against the might of Earthrealm. We defeated you before, imprisoned you in the Netherrealm. We will do so again. Shinnok walked forward to Raiden and said, you still don't understand, do you? Your words of encouragement and hope are all but lies, only geared to help yourself and your pathetic realm. The legacy of life is death, Raiden. My followers understand this, and live on. They fight for me. Speaking of which, allow me to introduce you to them all. He spread his arms out slightly to his sides as pillars of black smoke began to slowly rise from the ground around him. After about 30 seconds or so, they began to take forms. First, there was the revenant form Nightwolf. Gray skin with yellow eyes and some glowing veins showed that he was being controlled by Shinnok and Quan Chi. His old body was destroyed when he killed Sindel the first time around. Using his soul, Quan Chi used it to form an exact duplicate, as if it were never damaged in the first place. Now, this revenant Nightwolf was now their enemy. Next, they saw Revenant Smoke in his human form, in his alternate MK9 costume, the one with the loose hair and lower face mask. Revenant Cabal, Revenant Striker, and Revenant Baraka were also next to Shinnok. The next three, however, no one was expecting. Revenant Johnny Cage looked just as he did before, only with gray skin and yellow eyes and veins. He had spikes coming from his shoulders, elbows, and kneecaps. His fingernails had turned into claws. Next was Revenant Sonia Blade. She was wearing a very revealing V-shaped black outfit, with almost shoulder-length black arm wraps and thigh-high black leggings. Her knuckles had spikes on them, as well as her shoulders, kneecaps, and elbows, much like her undead husband. Lastly, was Revenant Sakura Haruno. Also having gray skin and yellow eyes and veins, she wore an outfit similar to Sonia's. Her hair was a much lighter shade of pink now. What the? Naruto said. He then grit his teeth and shook with rage. He yelled out to Quan Chi and said, what the hell did you do to them? He gave us real life, Naruto, Revenant Sakura told him. Naruto looked at her with a hurt expression. Don't look at me like that, Naruto. Join me, love, and we will be together forever. Literally, forever. We cannot die like this. Seeing you die the first time was absolutely horrific, he told her. And now, I have to see it again. What the fuck, man? Haha, Quan Chi chuckled. You stand no chance against us, young Uzumaki, Quan Chi said to him. You stand no chance against me, you definitely cannot stand against my lord, Shinnok. I will kill you all, Naruto said. Every, last, fucking, one of you. I swear. Mom. Dad, Cassie said with tears in her eyes. Is that you guys? Hello darling, I've missed you, Sonia said in a motherly tone in her revenant voice. Listen, I'm sorry, for everything. Come join us, and we'll be the family we were supposed to be when we were alive. I promise. I know I made mistakes, choosing my responsibilities, but now, I don't have that. I have my husband back. Now, only you are missing, sweetheart. Join us, Cassie. Revenant Sonia held out her hand in an inviting manner. Cassie was about to step forward, but Naruto threw his hand in front of her forcefully. It's not really them, he told her. Bullshit, Cassie said. She pointed at them and said, look. They are right there. What the fuck shit are you even talking about? That's not them. They are right there. It's their bodies, yeah, Naruto said, never taking his eyes off of them the entire time. They are being controlled with whatever Quan Chi is doing, or Shinnok, doesn't matter. An old enemy we had back home, Orochimaru, he had this jutsu that was called the Edo Tensei. In short, he would sacrifice a living person to bring back the dead. It would use the sacrifice's body to build their own body, but they would be under his control if he got to them soon enough. Clearly, Shinnok and Quan Chi have done something very similar. If you want them back, if you really want them back, we have to kill Shinnok and Quan Chi. Ha 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 ha, Quan Chi laughed. How can you even get to me? Quan Chi raised his arms slightly, and the ground around them began to crack violently. Deep red and orange fumes rose from the cracks as they widened more and more. A huge section of earth behind Quan Chi fell apart, creating a huge hole in the ground. It was lit up with the hellfires below, and smoke and fumes rose up high into the air. Legions and legions of demons and ogres and oni jumped out of the hole and filled up the area behind Quan Chi as more continued to emerge from the Netherrealm through the hole in the ground. Quan Chi smiled as he continued to say, if you have to get through all of them first. Shinnok said in his raspy voice, kill them all. The Netherrealm army of demons and ogres charged at the Earthrealm force. Another horde, really? Cassie yelled out, this is bullshit. And I'm almost out of ammo and grenades. Fuck me. Are you really giving up? Naruto said to her. Compared to the fourth great ninja war against Madara and Kaguya, this is easy. Who the fuck is Madara? And Kaguya? Jackie asked. Probably some idiot that wasn't even real, Jin said in his snide-ass voice. Shut up, faggot, Naruto told him. What did you just say to me? Jin challenged. You heard me, faggot, Naruto said. I said shut the hell up. Use those toy arrows and put a few of these damn things down already. Please, I bet you with just 3 of my arrows, I'll take more down than you ever could. Jin said to him. Clearly you haven't been paying attention, Naruto said. Jin pulled out 3 arrows and shot them in quick succession. 3 arrows were shot, and 6 demons were down. Take that, pretty boy, Jin said with a smirk. Naruto pulled out a single kunai, showed it to him, and said, wow, if that's all you got, then you really suck. Check this out. He threw the kunai in the air up high at a 30-degree angle. He did his signature hand sign and yelled out, kunai shadow clone jutsu. The 1 kunai turned into 100 kunai easily. It went from 1 kunai to a rain of sharp metal. 1 kunai, 100 down, he told Jin. I'll say it again, shut the hell up, faggot. Jin tried to swing at Naruto, but he ducked and roundhouse kicked him away and said, wow. How are you even on the defense team? Attacking your own. Really? You deserve to die, faggot. I'd play with you more, but I have an evil army to kill. Later, Naruto said as he ran towards the oncoming horde. Damn it, Jin, Jackie said to him. Just once, seriously, just one fucking time, stop being a fucking asshole. I'll fucking shoot you next time. Jin got up and said to her, I'm taking him down next time. Bullshit, Cassie told him as she reloaded her pistols. He created a fucking giant tree and blew it up. You shoot arrows. Dumbass. Now help us fight these fuckers already, Jin. Cassie aimed her pistol very carefully, knowing that she only had about 2 magazines left, and there were a lot of the damn demon things. The demons in the beginning of MKX, just in case you are having a hard time imagining them. Shooting every few seconds, she never missed. Jackie shot her arm cannons at the ground in front of some of them, improvising her shot to make them more like grenades. Each one of her shots, when they hit the ground, it would explode and send some of them flying away. Takeda was out there, using his whip-like chains with spikes on them and just going to town. Flailing his weapons around wildly, and yet with precise skill, he was taking out quite a few of them himself. However, just like with the Tarkatans, 2 would die, and 4 more would replace them. It never ended. Scorpion was also fighting very well. Using his swords and his kunai with chain, he was taking demons out left and right. He would cut one in half, spin around and decapitate another. Jumping back, he thrust his kunai with chain forward and impaled a demon's head. He yanked it back, ripping the demon's head clean off. He retrieved his kunai and went to work with his sword. He performed a roundhouse kick to prevent one from getting too close. He sheathed his swords for a moment and placed his hands on the ground. His eyes lit up with fire and yelled with righteous fury. Hellfire rose up from the ground around him, engulfing the demons. Just because they were from the Netherrealm didn't mean that they could withstand the flames of hellfire. He stood up and looked at his handiwork. 50 demons at least had been burnt to a crisp, dead as could be. He unsheathed his swords once more and headed to the nearest group of demons to continue his slaughter. Tsunade was pissed. First, her ninja were practically sent to fight in a tournament that technically wasn't even their own. Secondly, Naruto dies and is brought back to life. Thirdly, her apprentice is killed. Fourth, she's in a war with creatures just as ugly as the white Zetsus, if not even uglier. You really think that you can kill me? Tsunade yelled out to no one in particular. After she literally knocked the head off of one of the demons, she looked at a small group running towards her and yelled out, "I'll show you why I am the 5th Hokage." She raised her fist in the air and yelled out, "For Sakuraaa." She hit the ground in front of her, and unleashed every ounce of chakra she had built up in that hit. The ground in front of her split in half and forwards about 300 feet, in a single move. Just, crack, earth is split. Tens of the demons fell into the crevice of earth that Tsunade had created. She looked up at the remaining demons with a smirk on her face and said to them, not caring if they understood, "That's not even a warm-up." She stood up straight and beckoned the demons forward. "I've survived 2 ninja wars that make this one look like waking up in the morning. Give me your best shot." The demons charged forward, having no idea what they just got themselves into. Sub-Zero touched the ground and froze the immediate area, along with about 20 demons too. He didn't want to waste time on breaking them, they were already dead the instant they were turned into ice. He needed to move farther and freeze as many of these freak shows as possible. He froze one that was flying down towards him. It fell midair and hit the ground hard, shattering into hundreds of pieces. He continued this until he ran into a horde of even more demons than before. They turned to him and roared in their high-pitched demonic voices. Sub-Zero knew he wouldn't walk out of this one without an actual fight. He created thick ice armor around him and told them, "You will feel death's cold embrace, demons." For the Lin Kuei. He charged forward and began killing them left and right. A particularly large demon slugged him in the face, causing him to stumble back a little. The ice armor on his mask had been cracked. This demon was really strong. His ice armor could take a bullet at point-blank range and not even scratch. For it to be cracked from just a single punch, he had to watch out with this one for sure. The demon looked at him with its red eyes and sharp teeth and roared at him in a challenging manner. "You must die," he said to the demon. Sub-Zero created an ice sword and charged forward. Shiva was knocking demons away with her forearms like they were toys. "For the Shokan," she yelled. She jumped up high in the air and crushed a larger one under her weight and momentum from her jump attack. She launched a few fireballs and said aloud to them all, "You are no match for a member of the Shokan tribe, let alone its queen. I, Shiva, queen of the Shokan, am too much for any of you." "You are not too much for me, Shiva," an incredibly deep voice said from behind her. She turned around and was shocked at what she saw. Revenant Goro, in his Shokan armor. Goro, Shiva said with seething hatred. Prince, Shiva, remember your place. Goro scolded her. My place is beside Naruto, the new king of the Shokan. She argued. You know the laws of our tribe, Goro. Naruto killed you in combat, therefore he is the new king. You cannot defy this. And I do not want to, Goro said as he slowly walked closer to her. He easily doubled in size compared to her. Quan Chi has resurrected me in my prime. I was older and frail as far as Shokan is concerned when Naruto defeated me. And I'll defeat you again, you overgrown prick. Naruto said from behind him. Goro whipped around and yelled, you. Goro charged forward, all four arms raised, intending on crushing the one who stole his title as Prince of the Shokan. Naruto opened his eyes, once again revealing that he was in Sage mode. In the blink of an eye, he had closed the distance between the two of them and punched Goro in the chest. Goro flew back, his chest cavity crumbled. Naruto walked up and stood on his chest as he unsheathed his broadsword from his back. I am now going to refer to his broadsword as the Buster Sword, the one the Cloud Strife used in the beginning of Advent Children, and said to Goro, you were always weak. I don't know how you came to a position of power within the Shokan, but it will not happen again. Goodbye, former prince of the Shokan. He raised his Buster Sword and stabbed Goro right in the chest, almost cutting him in half in the process. He left the blade in his chest until he could tell that the life was gone from Goro's body for good. He yanked out the sword and placed it back in its holster on his lower back. He turned around and looked at Shiva as he said, are you okay, love? Yes, headmate, she told him. She slightly bowed to him. Don't worry about it, just kill all of these damn things, okay? Let's go, Shiva, he encouraged with a smile. Shiva smiled alongside him, proud that she could fight with her man. Melina was killing demon after demon after demon after demon. She was having the time of her life. The Tarkatan side of her was addicted to blood and battle, and it was getting its fix times 10 right now. Naruto and Shiva landed beside her and helped her take out the huge group that was surrounding her. I had that, Melina said, upset. I did not need your help. I know, Naruto told her. Just wanted to help my baby out. Melina couldn't help but smile. Having someone by your side actually felt good, she decided. Then let us play, my love. Ha 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 ha, yeah, let's play. Right now though, get behind me. Why? Just do it, now. Shiva and Melina jumped behind him as Naruto, quickly as he could, unsheathed his Buster Sword once again and blocked air. The ground around his feet cracked though, showing that he had indeed blocked something heavy. Melina, Naruto called out with gritted teeth. Can you smell whatever is here? I blocked something but I don't know what it is. Melina sniffed the air and yelled out, I can't, Naruto. There's too much in the air to distinguish anything. Fuck, Naruto yelled. There's definitely something here, but I can't see it. Naruto, use your Kyuubi cloak. It helps you sense things, remember. Just like you sensed where those copies of Madara were, you can do the same thing here, Kurama said in Naruto's mindscape. Oh yeah, Naruto said aloud. Thanks, Kurama. Naruto's body suddenly glowed a bright golden color. He transformed into his cloak transformation, and could now clearly tell what it was in front of them that had tried to crush them. It was another one of the ogres, only more demonic, and tried to crush them with its giant hammer. Naruto smiled as he said aloud, oh, it's on now. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.